Ladies and gentlemen, I am Muniba Mazari and I am a motivational speaker. I want you to enjoy your life and become who God created you to be. If you truly want a positive change in your life, don't just listen, take action. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you can receive more inspiring messages. This was the question I asked myself when life knocked me down. When I was lying in a hospital bed, unable to move. People told me your life is over, but I had a choice to accept defeat or to fight back. Today I want to talk to all of you about fear and failure, the two things that stop us from truly living. Remember this, if you are afraid of losing, you will lose. But if you embrace failure as a stepping stone, you will never be defeated. Fear is just an illusion. It's a powerful emotion that feels incredibly real, yet it exists only in our minds. It whispers doubts into our ears, paralyzes our actions, and convinces us that we are not capable, not worthy, not enough. But when we look deeper, we begin to understand that fear is not based on truth. It's based on what ifs. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? These questions are not reality. They are predictions born out of insecurity, uncertainty, and our desire to control outcomes. The truth is, most of the things we fear never actually happen. We spend days, months, even years worrying about situations that may never occur. Our imagination becomes our own worst enemy. It creates monsters in the dark, when all that's really there is shadow. The more we feed these thoughts, the bigger and more real they become. But the moment we decide to face those fears, we realize they lose their power. They were only strong because we believed them. Think of a time when you were afraid to try something new. Maybe it was speaking in front of a crowd, starting a new business, going for an interview, or even just being your true self around others. You probably imagined the worst case scenario, but if you gathered the courage to do it anyway, chances are the outcome wasn't nearly as terrifying as your mind had predicted. That's because fear thrives in inaction. It grows stronger the longer we sit still. But the moment we take a step forward, even a small one, fear begins to shrink. Fear is also a learned behavior. As children, we are fearless. We fall, we get back up, we try again. We don't overthink, we don't fear judgment. But as we grow up, we start hearing voices, some outside, some inside, telling us to be careful, to play it safe, to stay within the lines. Slowly, we start doubting our abilities. We start building walls around ourselves. But those walls don't protect us, they trap us. They keep us from reaching our full potential. Once we realize that fear is not a fact, we can begin to challenge it. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I succeed? Instead of thinking, what if they laugh at me? Ask, what if they're inspired by me? The shift in mindset makes all the difference. When we face our fears, they turn into fuel. They become the very thing that pushes us to grow, to evolve, and to rise. Fear is just a story we tell ourselves, and like all stories, we can rewrite it. It doesn't define who we are. It doesn't control our future. It only has the power we give it. Failure is a lesson, not a loss. It is often misunderstood as the end of the road, when in reality it is just a bend leading to something greater. People fear failure because society has conditioned us to believe that it is something negative, something shameful. We grow up hearing that success is the only acceptable outcome, that mistakes are signs of weakness, and that failing means we are not good enough. But if we look closely at the lives of the most successful people in the world, we realize one thing. Failure was never their enemy. It was their greatest teacher. Every time we fail, we learn something new. We understand what doesn't work, what needs to be improved, and where we need to grow. If we never failed, we would never innovate, never push boundaries, and never discover our true potential. Some of the greatest inventions and achievements in history came from repeated failures. Thomas Edison, when asked about his countless failed attempts at inventing the light bulb, simply said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His mindset shows that failure is not about losing, it's about learning, refining, and getting one step closer to success. The most dangerous thing about failure is not the experience itself, but how we perceive it. If we see failure as an end, we stop trying. We let it define us. We allow it to create fear in our minds, making us hesitant to take risks. But if we choose to see it as a lesson, as a stepping stone, we develop resilience. We gain the ability to rise stronger, smarter, and more determined. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of failure, but the attitude toward it. Imagine a child learning to walk. They take a step, stumble, and fall, but do they sit down and decide they will never try again? No, they get back up and try once more. With each fall, they become steadier, more balanced, and eventually they walk confidently. But as adults, we forget this simple truth. We let failure make us question our worth. We start believing that one setback means we are not capable. But the reality is that the only true failure is giving up. Every failure brings us closer to where we need to be. It teaches us patience, perseverance, and the importance of adaptability. It humbles us and reminds us that growth comes from discomfort. The pain of failure is temporary, but the lessons it teaches are permanent. It pushes us out of our comfort zone, forcing us to evolve in ways we never imagined. Without failure, there would be no great discoveries, no inspiring success stories, no breakthroughs. So instead of running from failure, we must embrace it. We must allow it to shape us, guide us, and prepare us for the greatness that lies ahead. Because in the end, failure is never truly a loss. It is the beginning of something greater. Your mindset shapes your destiny. The way you think, believe, and perceive the world determines the path you take in life. Two people can face the same situation, but their outcomes can be entirely different based on their mindset. One sees obstacles as barriers, while the other sees them as challenges to overcome. One believes they are limited by their circumstances, while the other believes they have the power to change their reality. The difference between success and failure, happiness and misery, progress and stagnation is not luck or talent. It is mindset. A positive mindset creates opportunities. When you believe in yourself, when you see setbacks as learning experiences, and when you choose to focus on solutions instead of problems, you attract growth. People with a strong mindset do not wait for life to be easy. They develop the strength to handle difficulties. They understand that struggle is a part of the journey, and that every challenge they face is shaping them into a stronger version of themselves. The most powerful thing in the world is not money, connections, or even intelligence. It is the ability to control your own mind. When you master that, when you choose to see possibilities where others see obstacles, you unlock the power to shape your own destiny. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Life does not wait, and neither should you. Too often, people put their dreams, goals, and passions on hold, convincing themselves that the right time will come. They wait for better circumstances, more confidence, the perfect opportunity, or a sign from the universe. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. There is only now. The most powerful thing in the world is not money, connections, or even intelligence. It is the ability to control your own mind. When you master that, when you choose to see possibilities where others see obstacles, you unlock the power to shape your own destiny. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Life does not wait, and neither should you. Too often, people put their dreams, goals, and passions on hold, convincing themselves that the right time will come. They wait for better circumstances, more confidence, the perfect opportunity, or a sign from the universe. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. There is only now. Waiting for the perfect moment is just another way of allowing fear to hold you back. It is the mind's way of avoiding uncertainty and risk. People tell themselves, I'll start my business when I have more money, or I'll chase my dreams when I have more experience, or I'll take the first step when I feel ready. But readiness is an illusion. No one ever feels completely ready for the big changes in life. Growth happens when you step forward despite the uncertainty, when you embrace the unknown instead of running from it. Every great achievement in history started with someone who dared to take action, even when conditions weren't ideal. If successful people had waited for the perfect moment, nothing would have ever been accomplished. The world's greatest inventions, the most inspiring success stories, and the biggest breakthroughs happened because someone chose to act. They didn't wait for everything to align perfectly. They made the best of what they had and took the first step. Time does not pause for anyone. Every second spent waiting is a second lost. People often regret the chances they didn't take more than the ones they did. The longer you wait, the more opportunities slip away. Fear convinces you that delaying action is safer, but in reality, it is the opposite. The risk of waiting is far greater than the risk of failing. Failure at least teaches a lesson. Waiting teaches nothing but regret. Perfection is an illusion. There will always be challenges, distractions, and imperfections in life. If you wait for the perfect moment, you will spend your entire life waiting. Instead, take action now. Start small, but start. Progress is better than perfection. The first step might be uncertain and the path may not always be clear, but once you begin, momentum builds. One step leads to another, and before you know it, you are far ahead of where you once. Stop telling yourself that tomorrow will be a better time to begin. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is today. Whatever it is that you dream of doing, start now. The journey may not be perfect, but every step you take brings you closer to where you want to be. Waiting keeps you in the same place. Action moves you forward. Do not let life pass you by while you wait for something that may never come. The perfect moment is not in the future. It is the moment you decide to begin. Comparison is the enemy of success. It is a silent thief that robs people of their confidence, happiness, and progress. From a young age, society conditions individuals to measure their worth based on how they stack up against others. Whether it is in academics, careers, appearance, or social status, the habit of comparing never seems to end. People look at those ahead of them and feel inadequate, as if their own journey holds no value unless it matches or surpasses someone else's. But the truth is, no two paths are the same, and constantly measuring oneself against others only leads to frustration and self-doubt. Success is deeply personal, yet comparison forces people into a race they were never meant to run. Instead of focusing on their own growth, they become consumed with what others are achieving. They see someone excelling in their field, buying a new car, getting promoted, or receiving praise, and suddenly their own progress feels small. Social media has made this even worse, as people only see carefully curated highlights of others' lives. It creates an illusion that everyone else is succeeding effortlessly while they struggle. But behind every success story is a journey filled with failures, sacrifices, and unseen battles. When people compare themselves to others, they waste energy that could be used for their own growth. Instead of building their own skills, they dwell on what someone else has accomplished. Instead of celebrating their progress, they diminish it by focusing on someone further ahead. Success is not about being better than others. It is about being better than the person you were yesterday. True growth happens when energy is directed inward towards self-improvement rather than outward toward competition. Every person has their own timeline. Some achieve success early, while others take longer to find their path. Comparing one's beginning to someone else's middle is unfair and unproductive. Life is not a race, and success is not a single destination. There will always be someone ahead, just as there will always be someone behind. The only competition that truly matters is with oneself. The goal should not be to outshine others, but to continuously learn, evolve, and push personal boundaries. Comparison leads to dissatisfaction and insecurity, while focusing on one's own journey brings fulfillment. People who succeed understand that their greatest strength lies in their uniqueness. They do not waste time trying to fit into someone else's definition of success. They embrace their own journey, their own struggles, and their own victories, knowing that true achievement is measured by personal growth, not by how they compare to others. Breaking free from the habit of comparison is liberating. It allows individuals to appreciate their own efforts, celebrate small wins, and stay motivated without feeling discouraged by others' progress. Success is not about looking sideways at others. It is about looking forward and taking steps toward one's own goals. The moment people stop comparing and start focusing on their own path, they unlock the true potential to achieve greatness. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is taking action despite fear. Fear is a natural part of life, an instinct designed to protect us from danger. It whispers warnings, creates doubts, and often holds people back from taking risks. Many believe that courageous people are fearless, that they move through life without hesitation or doubt. But the truth is, even the bravest individuals feel fear. The difference is that they do not let it stop them. They acknowledge it, face it, and move forward anyway. Fear has a way of making everything seem impossible. It magnifies risks, exaggerates potential failure, and convinces people that they are not ready or capable. It keeps dreams locked away, preventing individuals from stepping outside their comfort zones. But those who succeed in life are not the ones who never feel fear. They are the ones who refuse to be controlled by it. They understand that fear is simply a feeling, not a fact. It is a temporary emotion, but the regret of not taking action can last a lifetime. History is filled with people who achieved greatness, not because they had no fear, but because they had the courage to move forward despite it. Nelson Mandela, after spending 27 years in prison, once said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." He did not act because he had no fear. He acted because he had a purpose greater than his fear. Every leader, innovator, and change maker faced moments of doubt and uncertainty. Yet they chose to take the next step. That is what courage looks like. Not the absence of fear, but the willingness to go on in spite of it. Courage is a choice. It is the decision to take action even when the outcome is uncertain. It is the voice inside that says, "I may be scared, but I will try anyway." Every great success story starts with someone who decided to act, not because they were fearless, but because they refused to let fear win. A person afraid of public speaking will never overcome it by avoiding speeches. They must stand up and speak despite their shaking hands and pounding heart. An entrepreneur worried about failure will never build a business by waiting for the fear to disappear. They must take the first step regardless of their doubts. The more one practices courage, the less power fear holds. Fear never fully disappears, but each time a person pushes through it, they grow stronger. Confidence is built through action, not by waiting for fear to fade. The only way to conquer fear is to face it repeatedly until it loses its grip. Courage is not a feeling that arrives before action. It is something that develops through action. No one can completely escape fear, but everyone has the power to choose how they respond to it. Fear may always be present, but courage is the key to moving forward. The moment a person decides to act despite their fear is the moment they begin to change their life.